until present day. 8.7 million live in Austria. What does this computer do without me? Could you help me with the computer, please?
Oh, yes.
The computer is doing something without me.
It's all the time.
It's doing something automatically and I don't want to do. You have that.
Okay, it shouldn't unless you click it.
Yes, but did you change anything now?
No.
So I guess he will switch the slide again.
It shouldn't unless you click the button.
Okay, you're sure? Okay, let's come back to the population of Austria. We have only 8.7 million people, and that's about as many as in London, excluding its agglomeration, of course. In international rankings, Austria rarely gets the first place, except maybe for the World Championship in alpine skiing. And believe me, gold mining in Austria is rather ephemeral. However, since October the 10th, 1989, the Austrians have been issuing a gold bullion coin that after only 2 years became the world's best-selling bullion coin. Let me tell you about why Austria has created this bullion coin within the next half an hour. One of the reasons was the failed pre-1989 commemorative coin policy of the Austrian Ministry of Finance, which caused the transformation of the Hauptmünzamt of the into the Austrian Mint Corporation. Especially the last two aspects were vital to the creation of the Vienna Philharmonic. And last but not least, I will comment on the question of where the gold from the Vienna Philharmonic came from. The second part of the presentation will focus on the reasons why the Vienna Philharmonic became so successful, with the emphasis on the initial years up until 1995. Here, not only distribution and marketing are important factors, but most of all the measures taken by the company to boost the bullion coin's availability. What a word. But first, let me give you some remarks on methodology. Of course, written material on my subject was available. Yet it would have been impossible for me to answer the questions asked had I not chosen a different approach for my research. In contemporary numismatics, we are in the fortunate position to be able to ask the actors for their motives. So, with 3 parties involved, I conducted comprehensive interviews. The first interview was with Dietmar Spranz, former member of the Board of Managing Directors of the Österreichische Nationalbank and later General Director of the Austrian Mint. He published 2 seminal articles about our topic, to which this presentation owes a lot. The second interview was conducted with Karin Tattersall, who was appointed Marketing and Sales Director only a few months after the founding of the Austrian Mint Corporation. Last but not least, I met the designer of the Vienna Philharmonic in person, and I was able to record the many coincidences that have contributed to the Austrian bullion coin being known today as Vienna Philharmonic. Because of limited time, I will skip giving an account on these events. Please find a detailed summary in the written version of this presentation. Let's start with something all numismatists know and make use of. Let's begin with hoarding. Hoarding in contemporary numismatics. 20th century Austrians did hoard too, namely commemorative coins purchased for their nominal value from the bank. Not only collectors put these coins aside, they were also bought by stay-at-home moms and grandmoms, by tourists and locals. I even remember my own mom every time we spent our holidays in Austria heading off to the Sparkasse and purchasing a few commemorative coins in the vague hope they eventually increase in value. From 1955 through 1973, the nominal value of commemorative coins was 25 or 50 shillings. In those days, an average of nearly 13.9 million euros was stockpiled by Austrians every year. Between 1974 and 1979, when coin collecting became really important, it was like a national sport. The Minister of Finance raised the commemorative coin's nominal value, in order to make money, as you can assume, to 100 shillings and issued 79.5 million euros in commemorative coins on average every year. And they too disappeared all from the circulation. Finally, in 1980, the Minister of Finance introduced commemorative coins with a nominal value of 500 shillings, which is equivalent to about 35 euros. In 1980, that was a huge amount of money. For comparison, contemporary commemorative coins of the Federal Republic of Germany had a nominal value of 2.5 euros. Compared to 35 euros, that's quite a difference. It wasn't until 1987 it was raised to 5 euros. And even today, more than 35 years later, the German commemorative coins only possess a nominal value of 20 euros. So 35 euros at that time was incredibly much money. The high nominal value of the Austrian commemorative coins accounts for the fact that between 1980 and 1984, an average of incredible 121.4 million euros disappeared from circulation each year. And let's not forget, these sums added together. For 1988, the nominal value of hoarded commemorative coins was calculated about 18 billion shillings. Considering the fact that Austria had then a population of about 7.5 million people, every single person, therefore, hoarded commemorative coins worth 2,400 shillings, or today 174 euros. That means that 80% of the value of all coins issued was kept in hoards. I wonder what that tells us about the hoards of the medieval period, but that's something else. To give you another example, when I get to the next page. These 18 billion shillings equaled 20% of the total value of circulating banknotes at that time. This fact caused, as you may imagine, great concern at the National Bank. After all, the boom of coin collecting was coming to an end. You could watch that. The Ministry of Finance had already been forced to reduce the commemorative coins mintage by more than half because they couldn't sell it anymore. As soon as the general public would realize that the value of these commemorative coins did not increase, but rather was eaten up by inflation, the hoards of commemorative coins were in acute danger of being liquidated en masse. Such a large scale of return of commemorative coin would have seriously then threatened the stability of the Austrian shilling. And I guess that's a rather interesting development, that a stupid policy of issuing commemorative coins can endanger a nation's currency. But the Ministry of Finance did not really care about that. A balanced state budget was much more important at that time. And to accomplish this, the federal government contemplated abolishing tax privileges of until then favored government-related enterprises. This would also have affected the Österreichische Nationalbank. In fact, it was estimated that about 1 billion shillings should have stopped going into the financial reserves, but instead, through taxes, into the Austrian state treasury. Now, we have known this kind of situation since medieval times. On the one hand, we have an authority that exerts its coinage prerogative to make money in a way that affects money stability. On the other hand, we have an institution whose interest lies in a stable currency. The solution to this conflict of interest was medieval, and by the standards of the post-World War II era, incredibly innovative. The Österreichische Nationalbank offered the Ministry of Finance to buy the Hauptmünzamt, including the right to coin coins. After lengthy negotiation, a purchase price of 8 billion shillings was specified, which corresponds today to about 581 million euros. And the deal was made. On November 4th of 1988, during the 507th session of the Austrian Bundesrat, the Federal Act on Minting and Issue of Divisional Coins was adopted. Sections 1 and 3 stipulated that the Federal Ministry of Finance was to transfer the federal enterprise Hauptmünzamt as well as the right to mint coins into a public limited company. The shares of this stock company were designed as registered shares with restricted transferability, which means it was only possible to sell these shares with the approval of the shareholders' majority. Effective January 1st of 1989, and at already mentioned purchase price of 8 billion shillings, all shares were transferred to the Austrian National Bank. Despite this change of ownership, the Ministry of Finance still remained responsible for the 18 billion shillings in commemorative coins issued prior to December 31, 1988. Section 21 of the Coinage Act obliged the government to continue to refund the nominal value minus melt value upon the return of commemorative coins. The Austrian Mint, in turn, was required to refrain from any action that might cause a major return of commemorative coins. And I remember quite well that before the euro was brought to Austria, there were huge announcements of the Austrian bank that you can keep your commemorative shilling coins because they still have the same value, which they have not, because you need to pay a lot of money to get them changed. Nevertheless, they still are obliged to hold the population back from returning these millions of shillings to the government. While both purchase price and law were still subject to negotiations, a member of the Österreichische Nationalbank, Paul Berger, became interim director of the still in place Hauptmünzamt. Together with Dr. Bruno Tichy, former member of the executive board of the SPÖ-related Länderbank, and Dietmar Stranz, member of the board of managing directors of the Österreichische Nationalbank, and later to become also general manager of the Austrian Mint from 1998 to 2008, he was to shape the history of the Austrian Mint until 1998. And we can't imagine what happened with the Austrian Mint without being aware of this close and trustful personal relation between men in National Bank and men in the Austrian Mint. In particular, one such thing was the Austrian bullion coin Vienna Philharmonic. It was first not designed to serve as a cash cow, which it has become in the meantime. Rather, due to its high nominal value, it was planned to increase the value of the circulating coins, thus reducing the percentage of the hoarded commemorative coins to a decent number. At the same time, the Philharmonics were to replace the old commemorative coins as an attractive and safe medium of hoarding. One which did not cause the issuer any unpleasant surprises when interest amongst the public was fluctuating. After all, it was highly unlikely that a buyer would actually exchange his or her Philharmonic at its nominal value at the Austrian Mint. As long as the gold price did not drop below the nominal value of 2,000 shillings, which is about 145 euros per ounce, the gold market absorbed these specimens. Upon the change over to the euro, the nominal value was further reduced to 100 euros. So we see really that they want these things not to come back as denomination. To come straight to the point, the objective was fully met by the end of 2000, a good decade later. The portion of the conspicuous silver commemorative coins in comparison to the circulating banknotes dropped from 18% to 8.5%, and the Philharmonic accounted for 6.5%. But let's get back to 1988. Virtually, in the very last minute, paragraph 2 was added to section 12 of the Coinage Act, permitting the issue of bullion coins. As recorded in a stenographic protocol of the Federal Council, the new releases were to be modeled after the Canadian maple leaf, the market leader at that time. To think about a bullion coin in 1988 was, let's call it, quite bold, especially after the dramatic plummeting of the gold price right after it peaked in the 1980s. Experienced investors weren't interested in gold anymore. It was not a theme for investors. Among small investors, though, a trend gave rise to hope. In 1976, the Hauptmünzamt had issued a gold coin celebrating the 1000th anniversary of the installation of the Babenbergs at Austrian ruling dynasty. It contained 12.15 grams of fine gold and was originally sold at the nominal value. Because it was a coin, it was exempted from VAT, quite contrary to bars at that time. The result, due to the great demand, the Hauptmünzamt had to restrike. And if you hear the total, you will be impressed. 1.8 million of this coin were sold. On the coin market, they were actively traded, which proved that there was actually a potential for a bullion coin without VAT in Austria. At the same time, this provided the Österreichische Nationalbank with a perfect opportunity to reduce its gold reserves without further affecting the already sinking gold price by large-scale sales. The Österreichische Nationalbank lent 40 tons of gold from national reserves to its subsidiary, the Austrian Mint. This amount remains unchanged till today. There is still a part of more than 1/3 of the national gold reserves in the Austrian Mint. In the meantime, it's more than 50%. This amount of gold remains unchanged till today. It physically exists in form of raw material, cast coils, blanks, or minted coins. Until 1999, the gold of all Philharmonics sold by the Austrian Mint in one day was summed up in the evening and paid to the Österreichische Nationalbank at the current gold rate based on the London fixing. In turn, the National Bank delivered new gold exactly in an exact counterbalance. Between 1989 and 1999, roughly 1/3 of the Austrian gold reserves were liquidated this way, without ever exerting too much pressure on the market. As far as I know, this procedure is globally unparalleled. The rumor that the Austrian Mint had purchased this gold with a preferential price, what a word, is not true. What is true, however, is that this procedure minimized the Mint's risk regarding fluctuation of the gold rate. When Austria joined the EU in 1999, the collaboration was modified. The National Bank still lends this 40 tons of gold to the Austrian Mint, but this gold is now rebought on the international gold market on the daily rate. In February of 1989, plans for a new bullion coin were announced. October 10th of 1989 was the official first day of sale. The immediate success of the Philharmonic was a surprise even to those responsible. It had been hoped that the Philharmonic would account for 10% of the international bullion coin market. Don't forget, the competitors are South Africa, Canada, the US, Australia. So, who's Austria? But as early as 1990, it reached first place in Europe and second place internationally. Then, in 1992, it became the world's best-selling bullion coin. A result it reached again in 1995, 1996, and 2000. At this point, I would have loved to join all the others with their magnificent graphs. However, I had some problems. I would have liked to show you a graph comparing the mintage of the Philharmonic with the total world production of bullion coins. Unfortunately, the figures assembled by GFMS, a subsidiary of Thomson Reuters, differ significantly from those of the World Gold Council. A contradiction that I was not yet able to resolve. On the other hand, the exact numbers are a mere illustration and not the crucial point. Here you can see a graph showing the correlation between Philharmonic, sold in blue, and the movements of the gold price. And you certainly see immediately the Vienna Philharmonic became a bestseller. So why did the Vienna Philharmonic become such a huge international success, and not only domestically, as it could be expected? This takes us right to the second part of this presentation. One of the reasons certainly was the marketing and distribution system, which was modeled after the market leader, the Royal Canadian Mint. It is no coincidence that the Canadian Maple Leaf, already in the planning phase of the Austrian bullion, served as a model. It also seems safe to assume that Mint Director Paul Berger deliberately approached the Royal Canadian Mint's European representative when, in early 1989, he was looking to fill the position of the marketing director. Of Australian origin, Kerry Tattersall used to work at Scholars Bank coin trade department before he came to the Royal Canadian Mint. Tattersall brought many ideas and concepts to the Austrian Mint, which had already been tested at the Royal Canadian Mint. A key element was the limited number of agents who served the most important markets locally. And we can see how important one single person can be in global trade. The Austrian Mint had its own agents for the Japanese, the American, Asian, and temporarily for the German market. And in Japan, the Austrian Philharmonic still is the most sold bullion coin that exists. So that's due to one person. These agents received guidelines by the headquarters, but implemented them according to the specific needs of each market. To this end, they were given a generous budget which they could spend on customized marketing. In regards to the local and German markets, the Austrian Mint counted on the collaboration with banks and saving banks, as they were still selling commemorative bullion coins in the 1980s and 1990s. You could go to any bank in your neighborhood, which was normally 200 meters away, and you could buy all these products there at your local bank. Promotional material was produced for window displays and information leaflets for the customers. And regular trainings for bank employees took place, familiarizing them with the arguments for buying the Vienna Philharmonic. Only a few testimonies of the promotion material dating to that early period survived. One example is this information leaflet on of the Austrian Mint. I'm showing you in this PowerPoint. It was supplied to all kind of bank employees. In short and concise fashion, it summarizes which factors favor the purchase of a Vienna Philharmonic. In short, it's why should I buy this stamp coin? You can find the full text of it in my article, but let me give you a few key points. The most important argument was the security of the Philharmonic. Also, gold fluctuates, gold had never lost its value. To illustrate this, the bank employee is advised to mention that central banks hold their reserves in gold. Then, without giving a specific recommendation, the golden rule is quoted, after which 5 to 10% of one's assets should be invested in gold. Nice dream for a bullion producer. Furthermore, the leaflet informs about the advantages of bullion coins in comparison to traditional gold bars. The last one is VAT taxed and therefore more expensive. Also emphasized is the easy liquidation of gold coins without any analysis of the gold. They can be exchanged in cash at any bank. So this was really a very easy way of holding money. Because of the close collaboration between the Austrian Mint and banks and saving banks, the Austrian Mint was able to benefit from the trust bank customers gave their financial institution in that period. We are still ahead of some bankruptcies, and so there was still a very, very big trust in the bank employee who recommended to buy these bullion coins. But when these institutions started to withdraw from the gold trading in the middle of the 1990s, the Austrian Mint took over the coin wholesaler Hercher in 1996 and the Vienna coin wholesaler Scholler in 1998. Through these actions, the Austrian Mint secured a way to serve the wholesale business, retail, and also the end customer. In 1990, the Austrian Mint produced 600,046 500 bullion coins. The Mint was working at its capacity. The production of blanks turned out to be the bottleneck, and not only because the old machines were unreliable. Don't forget, they have overtaken an enterprise in which nothing was invested, the Hauptmünzamt, and had to make it profitable within a few years. The so-called positive zero tolerance was the goal for the production of blanks. In other words, the technical challenge was to produce a blank whose weight only minimally exceeded the weight of an ounce, which is, so you all know that, and that was difficult with these old machines. The reject rate amounted up to 40%. That's why the management in 1991 was thinking about investing in new machines for the production of blanks. An appropriate study proved production costs to be about the same as costs for acquiring blanks on the market. Only that it was assumed that possible external suppliers could not be as reliable as an in-house production of blanks. In the case of a boom of bullion coins, producers of blanks had to satisfy demands of all mints, which could only, again, create a bottleneck for the Austrian Mint. So on February 5th of 1992, the management decided to go with a new production facility for coin blanks. Annually, a demand of precious metal blanks in the weight of 180 tons was expected. The only problem was that there were no machines to produce such a small quantity of blanks. Therefore, deciding to install a new production line had to go hand in hand with a decision to venture into a new business area. The new production facility for blanks made it possible for the Austrian Mint to produce gold and silver blanks in the weight of 2 tons on a daily basis. To produce the blanks for in-house bullion and commemorative production, it only took 90 workdays, and the remaining blanks could be sold to other mints issuing bullion and commemorative coins. This way, if it ever came to the aforementioned bullion coin boom, the Austrian Mint was to earn double from its own product and from the blanks for third-party products. Ultimately, this last step became the deciding factor for the success of the Philharmonic. Every coin dealer emphasizes that never has there been a bottleneck of production when demand for gold was intense. And I've been told by a friend of mine who is supervising the San Francisco, who is in the committee of the San Francisco Mint, that platinum coins, which the US is producing, are sold out within 10 minutes. Okay. So if they were sold out in 10 minutes, then the Austrian Mint will come and deliver their platinum coins. So, and this accounts to the Philharmonic in gold and silver, of which the last had a nominal value of 1.5 euros since 2008, as well as to the Platinum Philharmonic, which has been issued since 2016 with a nominal value of 100 coins. They are both all the time available when people want to buy them. Kari Tattersall, former marketing director of the Austrian Mint, is convinced that this availability was the deciding reason for the success of the coin. Secondly, it's the attractive design, which is internationally comprehensible. Even with its unwieldy name, the Philharmonic, it's not really a name you can remember very well. But because of this problems with the name, for example, it was decided to market this coin as Harmony in Japan. Nevertheless, it's combined to an event most of the world is knowing through the famous New Year's concert, which is given by the Philharmonics every year.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, an innovative distribution system was relied upon, which especially was able to accommodate for the differences on the international markets. And this was supported by innovative marketing concepts, which for that time were quite extraordinary. Especially with Big Phil, a special edition of the Philharmonic in the weight of 1,000 ounces was such an success in the international media that the Royal Canadian Mint and then the Australian Perth Mint were imitating it, making a bigger coin from time to time. But nevertheless, the Austrians were the first of having the idea. Also, stunts like the Vienna giant wheel, decorated as Philharmonic. Nice, isn't it? Or an airplane. Painted with Philharmonic and the instruments seen on it, made sure that the bullion coin received much recurring attention from the international media and made it far known among investors, potential investors. Today, the Austrian Mint, together with the British Mint and the Royal Canadian Mint, belongs to one of the most important mints worldwide. Its products and projects are, in the mint world, the benchmark. The big role the Austrian Mint plays in the international world of mints is best demonstrated by the fact that 2 out of 3 deciding positions of the Mint Directors Conference, which is the International Association of Mints, are held by members of the Austrian Mint. As I said before, the Austrian Mint is the mint of this little country with 8.7 million inhabitants, located somewhere next to Bavaria. Sometimes it produces a world champion in alpine skiing, but more often it is the world champion in the sale of bullion coins. Thank you. And now we've got 9 minutes for questions.
Well, it's a historical continuity because Austria produced the Maria Teresa thaler that became famous worldwide and was used, for instance, in the coffee trade and in the Northern African trade. It
Yes.
seems that Austria has a knack for, or a propensity to produce high quality coins.
There is no continuity at all.
I know, it's fancy.
Yeah, they still had, when you go to the Austrian Mint, you still can buy the Theresienthaler, you can still buy the Franz Josef 4 Corona piece. They still produce these coins called Handelsmünzen at the Austrian Mint. You can buy them without VAT. At that time, the coins were with VAT. Which made them a real problem to sell. After World War II, there was a big break, after World War I, there was a big break in the tradition of Austrian minting, and the Hauptmünzamt, it was a joke of a mint. It was, at that time, completely unmodern, without techniques you could use. Unfortunately, from this period there don't exist photos. But when you talk with the responsibles at that time, they tell you they had problems with all parts of the production. And today, when you enter the Austrian Mint, it's the most modern mint in the world. It's, you can forget the US mints normally compared to this. It's a small mint, but the effectivity they have is very impressive. Now in this period where we have incredible overproduction in the world mint scene, everybody is modernizing the mints, and a lot of people have come up with it. So when you're going now to the mints, there is not as much difference as there used to be, but it's simply, there was no tradition. The tradition was completely coming out of this incredible model of a national bank being responsible for the mint and being responsible for the policy of issuing products of this mint.
What is the price of a coin in comparison with the price of gold?
Once again.
What is the price of the coin? If I want to buy a coin, in comparison with the price of gold?
It's a plus. I think it's a surplus charge of a few percentage in the low 1-digit area, and it's absolutely comparable to bars, to coin bars, which would be a possibility. And the coin has another advantage why people like to buy it. There is much of memories to World War II time. And I remember a lot of old people buying that because you can buy it in each size, from 1 ounce to 1/10 ounce. So you can rely on that when you can't use state money, you will be able to use even small parts of it for buying food. So it's only a few percent of the vintage cost that is added to the price. Nevertheless, it has become a cash cow for the Austrian Mint.
I may have missed it. Is tax evasion any driving force for
Absolutely.
this? Absolutely.
Thank you for this question.
And is it a cultural thing in Austria that maybe you give these coins to your children or to friends, and this explains why there's so much movement in these coins?
First of all, thank you for the question with VAT, because I think that's one of the things we always forget when we are talking about why these products are sold. Austria made very, very clever moves. The government, the National Bank, and the Mint, they were cooperating. It's fantastic. So they had when they started with the Philharmonic, it was no VAT due to the fact that it is a coin. There is no VAT on coins. I don't know any state where you have VAT on coins, but there has to be a denomination value on it. So that was the reason why the Philharmonic is officially 2,000 shillings worth. So there was no VAT, and so it was selling much better than these Handelsmünzen of the 19th century, which were struck all the time, all the period also. They had to be bought with VAT, which made them not compatible. Then in 1999, I think it was 1999, the VAT for gold bars was dropped due to becoming part of the European Union. And immediately after, the Austrian Mint started to produce bars. And today it's a big producer of bars, which are really nicely created with a lot of fancy stuff. And so they also have this in the portfolio. But VAT is an absolute driver of selling coins. The tradition of giving coins as a present, I don't think it's so important, because the Philharmonic is simply too expensive. You can give these small pieces, and that was one of the reasons why the Japanese market insisted to have 1/10 of the ounce as a small present. But for Europe, this was not the main reason.
On tax evasion, I was really thinking more of people wanting to, play the market on gold and then not having to declare that at the end of the year.
That's obviously a very, very important reason. That's a very important reason why private people are buying coins, because you can sell them piece by piece when you need. You don't get big amounts, but it's something that you can get rid of in cash, and it's a big reason why people invest in these bullion coins. There's a huge market for it.
To buy a coin, you can do it anonymously, or
you go to an account. For example, you go to the Austrian Mint or to a coin dealer. You are paying the day price of the coin, and you're going out with it. No recordings of name.
You can develop it further to say tax evasion and coins is not just bullion coins, it's the general part of the general coin market. Coin collectors is a big thing to have black money, place them in, buy something anonymously at an auction and then sell later without giving your name. This is...
I don't want to get this in the direction of black money. Most of the people who buy this stuff are people who are working and who are simply afraid of the state taking away from them once again what they have earned. And I don't want to have that in the black corner, because when you have a lot of money, you won't buy these little Philharmonic coins. It's not really the means of washing your money. It's mainly the means of of the retired person who wants to have a little bit in reserve, which can't be supervised by the state, or which they think can't be supervised by the state.
But you don't have limits on how much you can buy, right?
I've never thought about that, but it's a good question.
Look, it's very good that if you can buy, like, let's say 2,000 coins without giving your name.
I don't think, no, that's not possible because
Okay.
we have this cash law that when you are spending in
Yes, okay.
any shop a certain amount, I think it's 10,000 or
Yeah, so
something
you
like
have
that.
limits, you could say.
So you have limits, but the price for these Philharmonics, for one of these Philharmonics is much below. But there are the completely normal cash restrictions
Yes.
you have everywhere, even when you buy a watch or when you buy a whatever.
France is 3,000.
Yeah, it's. I think every state has a different. I think in Switzerland it's 10,000 or something like that. I don't know the exact.
Perhaps I missed, but can you buy it for its face value or according to the gold price?
If you find something stupid enough to sell it for the face value, you can buy it. But the face value, and that was the brilliant idea behind it. The face value has no importance because the face value is so much below the actual value of this coin. And the first coin which had this idea was the Krügerrand. And they were, at that time, they did not give a denomination on the Krügerrand, but tell you that the value of the Krügerrand is every day officially fixed. So it is a coin, it has a fixed value, it has a fixed state value, but and so it's free from VAT. And then all the other imitators, like the Royal Canadian Mint, the British Mint, and the Royal Australian Mint, they imitated that, but by giving a face value. But it's simply...
It is just numbers, yeah. Okay.
It's because a coin has to have a face value.
Yeah, as normally, so. Yes.
Like most of the modern commemorative coins, which have a face value, but this face value is just...
Yeah.
I think you could also add to the story about the spectacular marketing that these big coins, at least the Canadian one, I'm quite sure also the Philharmonic, they were sort of traveling around the world, making small exhibitions everywhere. Come and see the most expensive coin in the world. So that's also something new, I would say. And
the marketing behind is incredible, and I would love to get a little bit more and deeper in the marketing because they've done such a great job on organizing exhibitions, and especially with their agents. These agents were having a close connection to local wholesale big coin houses where you can buy these coins, and they cooperated in making marketing actions by a lot of things. So these coins were traveling, and for example, next year they will have the jubilee of 10 years of their silver Philharmonic, and they are already thinking what to do and how to do it in which market, and it's very globally thought marketing.
Ursula, I'm just thinking as a kind of historian and sort of trying to